Awesome. All right. And welcome to another Storytellers Happy Hour. I'm Lisa Kastner. I'm here with Teehee and Rebecca, or Becca. I never call her Rebecca. That's freaking ridiculous. I've known her far too long. Anyway, so we're here with you guys once a month. And what we basically do, well, I won't go into what we do. I'll let Teehee explain all that. But I want Rebecca to take a second and introduce herself. So Becca, tell us about you and your fabulousness.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be here with you guys tonight. We're going to have so much fun. So who am I? That's a great question.
Essentially.
We will have a lot of time because we're no, just kidding. So I am an author and an editor and a teacher. I've got a couple books out this year. My health and wellness memoir came out in June, Chronic. It's about my experience with endometriosis and holistic medicine. And then I've got my novel that I spent approximately 11 years working on. About the whole time I feel like I've known you guys.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, because I started it with my thesis in grad school, the MFA program. So it's finally coming out. Yay. Waiting for Beirut. And you can pre-order that now. It is coming out in October. I'm very excited. I'm also an editor, which I love. And I'm a teacher. I teach college courses in a couple different schools in Connecticut. And
I'm a
mama. I'm a mama of a 4.5-year-old who will be 5 in November, as she reminds me every single day. Not 4, she's 4.5, but she's almost 5, and that's very important to know.
So it is very important. You need to understand these things.
Meanwhile, over here, I'm rounding down in my age, but
hey, I'm knocking off decades, man. Like, why not?
I'm the exact opposite. I'm like already rounding up to 40. I feel like 39 is a blah year. So when people are like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm almost 40. And like, that's kind of true.
You are so damn awesome. Like, I'm like, guess how old I am. And it's always way wrong. And I love that. So I'm not going to complain.
It's true.
The almost 40 is the only way people are off because they're like, 40. I would have thought 40. But then they keep talking and fuck it up. They're like, I would have thought 38 or 39. I'm like, 39 is almost 40. That's also my exact age. So like,
no, you don't. It's not even close. Like, you maybe look, I'd say early 30s at the most.
Thank you.
But I would definitely go like high 20s. But
I would, we look about the same. We're the same age. I'm 37, so when I ask my students and I sometimes play this game also. I get the late 20s, early 30s. I'm like, are you guys trying to get a good grade?
You also, but see, my problem is I've known you both for, oh my God, over 10 years. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, well, I know it can't be like 20 because we all have MFAs, and like that's impossible unless you skip high school. Like, I don't know. So
yeah.
So anyway.
Alrighty. Well, let me explain also. Okay. Disclaimer. I live in Mexico. My air conditioning does not work very well. So when I start to see my forehead glisten, I'm just going to politely wipe my face off. I'm also in the middle of moving apartments, so I don't have a towel to wipe my face off with. I have the tank top I was wearing earlier today.
And he's really pointing this out because it's so super hot, and I don't mean that in a physical temperature way. I'm just saying.
So much depths to try to cool this place down before it was time to start. And then like I open the computer and I just like feel the sweat running down my face. I'm just like, fuck. But I only got 2 more days of this, and then I get to move into a better place that has reliable air conditioning and a reliable maintenance man who can fix things that go wrong with the apartment.
Yay! Although I must admit, I love the very first place that you lived in when you first moved to Mexico. That place was the shit.
Yeah, that place was awesome. That place was awesome. That was a bad roommate situation, but it was a really great apartment.
It's all good. It's all good.
And it rents now. They don't even do long-term rentals anymore. They only did that for the pandemic. Now they only do nightly, and it's like $1,000 US a night at that place.
Holy crap. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Well, thank God you got it when you did, man. Like, seriously.
Literally the nicest place I ever lived. And it had like not live-in staff, but like the house came with like 4 different domestic workers. Like it was that big, and it was like
Yeah.
I'm already getting into a story. Let
All
me
right.
see how
Go,
the
go,
story
go.
next. Okay. So just like last season, we're doing impromptu storytelling. So we have a prompt, and then everyone just comes up with the story on their own. Last season, I created all the prompts. And this season, I am both lazy and blessed to have a good friend, a fellow writer from our MFA program, Jenny, who gave me this deck of storytelling prompts from The Moth. If people are familiar, The Moth is not sponsoring this.
For the record.
Although they are welcome to.
Oh yeah, bring it. Come on. We love sponsors.
Yes, sponsors would be nice.
Yeah.
So
we both love
literally.
So Bombay gin, bring it.
Yeah.
Gin, a good red, a good white. Teehee has his favorites. So anyone wants to sponsor? Well, it's a happy hour. So come on.
Yeah, it's a happy hour. So drinking is encouraged. If you're watching from home, drinking is encouraged. Drink responsibly.
Yeah, don't drink when you're driving. Don't drink in front of your parents. We all know how that ends. It's usually not very well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So literally just before we broadcast live, I pulled the card. Here's the card. So this is the theme for our storytelling. Stories about hair, which I'm so excited for. I still don't know my story yet.
Okay.
But so this is the order we'll do. We'll start with, we'll just go like, I guess, left to right on my screen. So Lisa and then Becca, and then I'll close out because I'm still debating between 2.
All right. So, well, I have 2. Can I tell 2?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the first of the 2, we'll start in chronological order. So my very first boyfriend, I was 17. I'd never had a boyfriend ever. I'd never dated ever. And a friend of mine and I, we went to, there's this really well-known rock club in Philadelphia. And it's only an over 21 club. So what happens is anyone who's under 21, they hang out in the parking lot. And then the guys from the bar or the nightclub who are over 21, they'll come out and hang out in the parking area where all the under 21 girls are, because they know there are hot girls there who are technically underage, but they're old enough to date them, if this makes sense. So a couple of friends of mine and I, what we used to do is we would, again, I was like 17 going on 18. So we would go and go and hang out there. And I mean, obviously everybody would still have booze, hence thematic, right? Because it's a happy hour. And we would, hang out. And there was this one guy who was like, I swear he was like, I think he was 6'6", and like built kind of like a football player, and had do you remember Slash from Guns N' Roses?
Yeah.
Okay, so he looked like Slash from Guns N' Roses. And I was like the same long hair, everything. And he kept like kind of like staring at me. And then he finally like came up to me and was like talking, but like he was very soft spoken, you know? So eventually he was like, hey, you know, do you want to come over and like hang out or whatever? And like we ended up going across the street and making out behind another store, you know. And so we exchanged phone numbers and everything. And I thought, well, I'd be a fool not for my first boyfriend not to be basically a hotter version of Slash from Guns N' Roses, right? Like, fine. And he owned a Harley Davidson.
Oh my goodness.
And I was all like,
Wow.
at 17, like I pretty much, I mean, I listened to all kinds of music, but I was really all about anything that was like hard rock, heavy metal. I would like go to concerts all the time, you know, which is a whole nother thing. And I was like friends with a lot of different bands in the area, both well known and not known, you know. And so he was not only did he have a Harley Davidson, but he also played bass, and which for some reason I've always been attracted to men who play in the rhythm section. No idea. Like my husband's a drummer, like just for context. So he's a like I always say he's a musician and a producer, which is true. It's all true. But so he plays drums and he sings and he produces albums. Anyway, so he and we were dating for a while, and I decided, okay, he's going to be my first, right? So we go to this like motel, like a no-tell motel, one of those that you could like get a room by the hour, not by the night, right? So we get a room, and he just out of nowhere decides that he proposes to me, right?
Oh my God.
So this teeny weeny little, like, okay, so see this? This is can you see this? This is my wedding ring. Okay, imagine this, but with a smaller diamond than what I even have on the right. Okay.
How old were you?
I was 17. I may have been 18 by this point. I don't think so. I think I was 17, but I'm maybe 18. So all of a sudden it occurred to me, I'm like, how many times have you been engaged?
Oh,
and he's like 8 or something like that. And I was like, wait a minute.
What? No.
Before you sleep with a girl, if she's a virgin, do you propose to her? And he was like, yeah, that's the right thing to do. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, at this point, let's just say my virginity had been broken, but we had not experienced the true pleasures of having sex, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I like look at him. I'm like, you know, I really like you, but I love you, but we're not getting married. Like, I'm just telling you this now, right? Because at this age, I was like, look, I'm gonna, like, my intent was to get the out of, like, I lived in Camden, New Jersey, which was one of the most dangerous cities in the US. We had no money. Like, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but my tushy's out of here, right? And I knew that a guy who is like 6'4", 6'6", and who looked like Slash, and who worked as a mechanic and drove a Harley, we were not gonna go anywhere other than wherever his Harley could take us, right? So I was like, all like, no offense, but nope, right? So he was like, honestly, he didn't look all that heartbroken. Like, he was like, okay. Right?
8 times.
He had proposed 8 times. 8 times. So that means he had either gotten turned down, or I don't want to know what the other things were. Okay. So we actually kept dating after that for a little while, and it just sort of like phased out, right? But by some irony, like 2 weeks later, we're hanging out at the club. We're hanging out in the parking lot. Oh, and by the way, he was over 21. I think he actually was 21, right? And there's this girl standing from across the way, and she's just staring at me like she wants to beat the shit out of me, right? And I'm like, who is that? It turned out she was the last girl that he had dated and had proposed to. And somehow she found out he proposed to me. And she was pissed off because, well, I'm not sure why. But then I got to hear about how she went to Catholic school. And from what she was raised on, this was the wrong thing to do. And that's why she turned him down and blah, blah, blah. So she showed up to talk to him about like, what do you mean you proposed to somebody else? And blah, 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 right? So he went and pulled her aside, and I don't know, they had a little chatty chat. And she actually looked fine when he was done talking to her, right? And came back and and long story short, we ended up, like, we agreed we would just stay friends, right? Which we did. But I must admit, that was like the best Harley rides of my life. I have not had a Harley ride like I ever had with him since then. So,
man.
Yeah.
So, and he had super long hair, but was the hair like flying out from his helmet, like when you guys were like on the bike?
No, he did this, like he put it in a ponytail when he was, but when he was like, why I compared him Slash is because like his normal was like this, but he had really thick curly black hair that came to like here.
Oh,
So
wow.
to even like see his face, you had to kind of like pay attention, if that makes sense. So,
I get it.
and you all can figure out if this was for real or not. I'm not going to tell you, but I'm going to keep drinking in the meantime.
Lisa, I have to say, I married the guy who drives the motorcycle who's older and works on trucks, not cars, but.
Yay!
Okay, and I am currently dating an auto mechanic down here in Mexico. So the through line.
And actually, I've dated a few mechanics. Like, I don't know what it is, but yeah. Anyway,
no. My husband does have great hair, actually. Like he has like full head of like thick hair. It's not like long, but like he does have that like maybe his like little spiky hair, and his nephew is like starting to style his hair like my husband now, and it's like really funny. He's like 12, and he's like he hasn't quite like figured out how to like
totally do the whole thing.
Yeah. So it's really cute.
We can have an intervention with your husband. Like you can like, do the whole like you do understand. You can do whatever you want, and we've decided that it needs to be like, Yeah.
I'm
okay with doing the intervention.
Hair intervention.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. My husband did a hair intervention with me because I used to cut my hair down to like pixie length and then grow it out and then pixie length because my hair grows fast. Yeah. And when we started dating, how did I start a second? Sorry.
No, go for it.
I apologize.
No.
When we started dating, and my husband, by the way, has long dreadlocks. I mean, like long, like my length. No, actually, maybe longer. And he was like, please don't ever cut your hair. And I was like, for realsies? Like, I'm like, but this is like my thing. Like, I always cut it like pixie and then I grow it out. And he was like, I mean, if he goes and like did the puppy dog eyes, like, if you really want to, it's okay. And I was like, all right, I can't not. Like, I can't do it now, right?
No.
So my hair's been like this. Our 10-year anniversary was May 18th of this year.
Oh,
thank you. So sorry, I gave you two for the price of one.
Deal.
All right, Becca, it's all you, honey.
All me. Okay. So Let's see. So I had I've got 2 stories, but I think I'm just gonna stick with the first one. If I have time, I'll throw
You
in
never
the
know.
second little one. I'll just sneak it in there. Um, so you know how in those like 90s movies where like all of the girls who aren't cool like have like the curly frizzy hair, and then like they get this extreme makeup. Like, I'm thinking of like She's All That, and you know what her, and they always do like they straighten her hair, and then like she's this new person, and like nobody recognizes her. And it's like, and I never really, I'm like, she's the same girl. She has the same face. Like,
Same body.
Same body, same face. There's nothing, like, oh my God, this would never happen in real life. This is so stupid. Oh my goodness. It would infuriate me as somebody with naturally curly, frizzy hair. I was like, this is ridiculous. Nobody would ever, whatever. So, so in my early 20s, I worked at a restaurant, and most days I would go in. My hair was curly and naturally curly and frizzy most days because I'm going into a restaurant. I'm not going to like straighten my hair and have it like all down and get into people's food and shit because my hair, you know, I lose a lot of hair. Like, so my hair was always tied back in its curly and natural state. So I remember there was one night we were all hanging out. Like most nights we would hang out after work because you work in a restaurant and you all go to like, I worked at a chain restaurant in a mall. And so we would go and hang out at like the other chain restaurant on the other side of the mall. Like we'd like walk over. They'd come over to our bar. We go down to their bar. And I mean, none of us were actually, no, wait a minute. I must have been like 19 at the time because I don't think I could legally drink at a normal bar. So I had to drink at the Ruby Tuesdays, you know, at the mall. That's the only place that would serve me.
Totally.
But my hair would always, you know, still be, and it's, you know, tied back, natural state, whatever. So I guess I looked the same as I did during that, you know, most days that people saw me. Well, one day it was a Friday, and I happened to have the day off, and so I thought there was going to be a party. I don't remember what we're in our 20s. There's no reason to have a party. You just have a party because it's Friday night. And so I decided I was going to straighten my hair because I was like, all right, I've got time. I'm not working. Like, okay, I'm, you know, get a little dressed up, straighten my hair, whatever. I walk into this party with my hair straight. Nobody recognized me. I was like, what the? Are you kidding me right now? I had one of my closest friends, Brian, who like he was like one of my best friends, comes up, introduces himself to me, like taps on my shoulder. I turn around, he's like, hey, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me right now. Like, really? Awesome. I have the same. I look the same. My body's the same. I'm dressed the same. Like, the only difference is my hair is straight. Like, and it happened the whole entire night. I'm walking around. People came up and introduced themselves, and then they get close to me and like look at my face, and then they'd be like, "Oh, yeah, I totally didn't recognize you at all. You're like a totally different person with straight hair." It's like, but I'm not though. And then in that moment, I'm like, I understand 90s movies now, 90s teen movies. They make sense. I'm like, I thought they were ridiculous. I take it all back. Apparently it is true.
That was awesome.
There's this one girl in my high school I remember. She was very bookish and shy, and no one really noticed her. And then she wore leather pants once to school and never looked back. She immediately was at the popular table. And, you know, she was like shy and mousy, and I was a nerd. So we used to talk during like homeroom. She never spoke to me again. Like, like, I see the promised land. I'm going.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Mad. I'm not even mad about it.
No, it's like, dude, I need to find me some leather pants. Like, how am I gonna make that happen?
Because like I feel like teenagers of that kind of stupid though. Like one change is like,
oh, 100%.
Yep.
100%. I like, there's a whole nother thing where it was just hilarious, but it's not a hair thing, so go.
Also, when I had my hair blonde and it would grow out, and so I'd have blonde hair with black roots, people would come up and they'd be like, "Is that your natural hair color?"
And
You're like, "Of course the fuck not it is." People's hair naturally doesn't go from blonde to like jet black, night sky black.
Oh, my favorite, because I'm a natural redhead, but I still like do henna just to like brighten it. My favorite is when guys come up to me, they're like, is that your natural hair? And I'm like, yes. Only less than 4% of the population are redheads. I'm like, all right, first of all, bling. Second of all, what is wrong with you?
Has that line ever worked? Like,
No, never. Actually, the complete opposite. If anything, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm suddenly ill.
The best way to flirt with people is to share statistics.
Exactly.
Know that.
And I went to this one thing where they were like, it was my financial advisor. I know this sounds fucking weird, but the advisor held this thing where like the beginning of like let's look at the what's going on with the investments and the everything, right? And I somehow attracted every semi-single, I'm using that intentionally, over 60 man who was like, so you do realize, I'm like, all right, look. Yeah, we're all here because we don't want to die poor, right? Or like we at least want to retire and not retire where we're like dependent on Social Security. Why is your tushy in my face? Why are you talking to me about redheads are less than 4% of the population? First of all, it's more like less than 1% of the population. And second of all, hello, pay attention. But
where did you get that number 4 from?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, let's just and it was always one of those like, I'm not hitting on you. I'm just sitting close to you and I keep snuggling closer.
I just keep reaching out and touching your leg.
Right, exactly.
By accident.
I keep accidentally brushing your breast. You know what? That's going to make me slap you.
Because percentiles just automatically necessitate skin-to-skin contact. You can't
It really does.
percentiles without touching somebody's body part unasked.
We're here talking about financial investments, and that obviously will generate individuals to say, I need to touch your boobs. It does not. It really doesn't. Even if you're doing like a potentially suave, note the air quotes, like, oh, sorry. Yeah, you're not sorry, and I'm gonna kill you.
There's not really a gay man equivalent to this though, because it's like it's so overt. They're like, yeah, I'm touching your nipples in a bar in front of people. And like, I definitely don't care what your relationship status is. Like, I've had people be like, hi.
Oh my God.
Oh, really?
Is this a handshake?
I mean, have you ever had like the more overt genitalia?
I was gonna ask. I was wondering.
Like, I need to hug you, and then they like push their hips forward.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that
yeah.
Okay, I could see that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That, the butt grabbing, the hand down the front of your pants.
Ooh,
that's forward.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. And it's not like, oh, sorry, I like dropped my phone. No, they're just like, I'm gonna grab. I'm gonna see what you're packing.
See, no, that is a now. Okay, I need to hear. How do you handle that? Because that's a lot. Like, I would be like, drop kick. Suddenly, you're dead. Like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you would be surprised what you can and can't ignore. Like, and then also like if you're quick enough, because like, okay, This is not a story about hair. This is going to be a very short story about groping. There's this leather bar in town called Studs, and on Friday it's jockstrap night. I have a jockstrap, I don't wear one, but I will randomly be there on occasion. And I went out on the patio to smoke a cigarette, and as I walked out to smoke a cigarette, this guy just like cups me. But it's so crowded I can't see who it is, but his arm is still there. So I have to like follow, the highlight of his like arm up to the sky. And I was like, oh, he's actually kind of cute. And then I'm smoking my cigarette. I'm like trying to keep an eye on where his location is. And I was like, that was really suave as hell that you just like reached out and like grabbed my package. And so then he finally like gets on the patio and he starts walking by me. And this is the trick that he taught me inadvertently. Is you should just always be in motion, because I tried to return the favor and grope him, but he was walking kind of fast. So like my arm is just hanging out there and totally past him. And it was so embarrassing.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So now I just try to make sure I'm moving. If you see someone's hand go down and you're like, oh, I love this song. Hey.
That one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Like if you see someone getting close enough to your package that I'm like, yo, so that they can't even come near, so they know like, like this is not for you.
And then, sadly, sometimes I'm drunk and I'm like, I'll just let this happen. This is weird, but like, sure, why not? There's a owner of a bar, and I was leaving a bar, and he was leaving the bar. We were both really drunk, so I give him a hug, and then he just starts patting me, and he was like, "Is this okay?" And I was like, "I mean, you're doing it, so."
I guess so.
I guess so. Like if you really cared, you would have asked beforehand. I would have said no. But your hand's down there already.
And then it's like, do I get like some free booze out of this? Because there's some reciprocal thing that should be occurring.
Yeah.
I'll settle for some positive rumors spread about me throughout town.
Yes. Because dude, he can do it, man, right? Like for real.
Hopefully these rumors are out there. Well, yeah, I have some confirmation that there's some positive rumors out there.
All right, that's good. All right, back to the hair story.
Yeah, that's a story for another time. Here's a story about me.
Different prompt.
Right? Totally different prompt. Oh, you have no idea. We're so full of it. It's just like
it's obvious we've known each other for like 10 years.
Right, exactly. Totally.
Okay. So here's my hair story. So I actually had from birth the same barber my entire life until I was 15.
Oh my God.
His name was Frankie. He had a bar that was like set up like a shrine to Marilyn Monroe in the 50s for some reason.
Oh my God. Wow.
He was best friends with my mom, and they were the same age. So he also cut my mom's hair. He cut my brother's hair. He cut all my sister's hair. He was like our family barber, right? And because he knew my family growing up, like, he knew how to cut our hair. Like, we're a very mixed family. And we have like, I won't even say we have Afro textured hair. Like, more accurately is we have like mixed raced hair. So like my hair has like multiple curl patterns. They grow in multiple, like it's a lot. It's a lot to figure out. But Frank was great at it because he did our whole family. And he unfortunately passed away when I was 15 of a heart attack. So we go to the funeral. It's one of the first major funerals that I remember. But no one told me this fun fact. So like me and my sister sit down and we're like looking at the funeral program, and this woman gets on the organ and she starts playing, and it's like dun 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 dun. It was in his will that he wanted the organist to play Eye of the Tiger at his funeral on an organ.
I love him.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yes.
So me and my sister look at each other like, is this happening? And we start laughing. can't laugh in a funeral, so we have to like hide our faces
Oh my
and
God.
like move our shoulders a lot, like we're crying. And people are like, "Oh, they really loved Frank." We're dying.
Oh my God, I'm ripping this off. I need to find like some kind of ridiculous film. Yeah, no, I'm totally ripping this off. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. It was it was even like funnier because we had no warning. Like afterwards, we talked to our mom about it, and she was like, "No, he was really into the Rocky movie."
Oh my God.
So this was definitely something that he wanted. And I was like, interesting. Like they
Wow.
probably should have put something in the program.
Like a forewarning, like, hey, this is gonna here's your soundtrack for the funeral.
And it sounds like it definitely is the song. Like once it starts, you're like, wait, is
You're like,
this
Eye of the
Eye of the
Tiger?
Tiger on a fucking church organ? Like, but it is. So then after that, I went to a couple of barbers to try to find a new barber, but people could not cut my hair. They would just like mess it up all the time. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to learn how to cut my own hair.
Oh.
And for 20 years, maybe close to 25, I cut my own hair.
Oh my God.
All throughout high school, all throughout college, on the island for grad school, I would sometimes pack my clippers because I had like a regular schedule
Nice.
and cut my hair on the island. I definitely had to cut my beard on the island because my beard is like will take over the world if I give it the chance. It's like massive and gross.
Explain to them what you mean by the island, because they won't have any idea.
So we all went to grad school on a private island off the coast of Mystic, Connecticut, which is 100% true. That sounds crazy. But it's true. This is how I explain it to people. I'm like, I went to grad school on a private island that had unlimited wine after 5 p.m.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
That was the best. And we had a lobster bake
Yep.
like at the end,
Yeah.
which was the best lobster I've ever had in my entire life. And they don't do it anymore.
What? They got why?
I don't know. I was talking to Chris
It was
and
too
he told me like
expensive.
they don't do it anymore. Yeah, it's expensive. But
I ate like 4 lobsters in one sitting.
I know it was so good. And I was like, because like the corn, because it was a true lobster bake. So it was the corn and the potatoes, and like I was like torn. I'm like, do I want to fill up on lobster, or do I want to fill up on corn, or do I want to fill up on, like, what do I want to fill up on? Because it was so good.
It's really funny that we're talking about lobster right now
I grew
because
up poor, so I filled up on lobster.
Too, but I grew up poor where I was like, all of it counts. That's a whole nother. Yeah, we need to do one that's a prompt on like what all about growing up poor, because people will be like, holy shit, you did what? You know, yeah. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Becca.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's funny that you guys
Yes.
brought up the lobster because my daughter randomly today decided to tell me that you've got to be careful, mommy. If you ever eat things with claws, you got to make sure that you take off their claws. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, where did this even come? It was so random. And she was just talking about like eating things with claws. I'm like, are you talking about lobster? She's like, and crabs. I'm like, why? You've never had lobster or crab. Like, why is this even coming up in conversation right now? She's like,
Right.
I just want you to know, mom, you got to be careful for those claws. And I was like, and ever since she brought it up, though, I've been like, I have this hankering now for lobster. Now you guys are talking about it.
Honestly,
like, lobster.
Since he brought up the island, like now I'm like, yo, we need to go for a lobster bake, because for real, like,
And a reunion with unlimited wine.
agreed.
Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
gotta happen.
I mean, and we didn't
We
pick
totally-
this MFA because of the wine. Like, that is not why.
Well, no.
Well, and also speaking of hair, like I showed up to the first residency on the island with this huge afro, because of like
Yeah.
where I was in life, and I was like a big socialist, and Austin doing all these like direct actions and stuff like that. And I was worried that people weren't going to understand that I was this like radical queer activist person. So I was like, you know what I'll do? I'll grow out an afro.
Okay.
Good time.
I got accepted to like 3 programs, and I went to, we're talking about Fairfield University in case anyone has no idea what we're talking about. And I went to Fairfield because I got invited to be like a guest, right? To like experience the MFA. And I forget who it was, but one of the students turned to me and she went, "You will come to this MFA and this will change your life." And like literally like walked away. And I was like, "Great." So I guess that's it.
Was that encouragement or like a curse?
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Did she bring his arm or whatever out and like?
I got the lobster bake out of it and nightly wine. So I'm thinking, and honestly, some killer mentors. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like the other, like the classmates, like the community is also really dope. Like I loved not everyone, but like 90, 80%, 75% of people.
Love them. You could just be like, "Oh, look, I need to go to the diner on shore." Like, yeah, like this wasn't a thing, right? Like you could just go hide in your room. It didn't matter. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Isn't everybody there on the island?
For Oakley?
Yes. Aren't they on the island now?
Now? Like this minute?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right, let me see.
Yeah, because like, Alumni Day was like Sunday or something.
Yeah, I was supposed to do a virtual reading, but I was at a conference. This is why I don't go to Alumni Day in the summer. My day job has like a professional conference the same weekend as Alumni Day.
Oh. Yeah, I don't get invited to these things anymore. I think I pissed them
also
off.
I don't get invited to these things anymore.
Oh yeah, it is. Residency is right now. It's to the 22nd.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, I used to, when I lived in New York, I would just crash the island on New Year's Eve, you know, because there was always a New Year's Eve party.
That was fabulous. That was the best residency ever. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And people are like, "What are you doing for New Year's Eve? Are you going to Times Square?" And I'm like, "No, I'm going to show up on this private island in Connecticut." And they're like, "You're not going to tell anyone you're coming?" And I'm like, "No."
And they won't care, just so you know.
I was like, Mama Hastings will take care of me. She takes care of everything.
Oh my God, I miss Mama Hastings.
Yes.
For real. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, they stopped inviting me when I think, remember when suddenly they didn't have a sponsor for the annual book award?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So literally what happened, at least my understanding, was that Sonia Huber, who's the head of the program now, literally walked down the hallway to one of the founders of a small press and was like, "Can you guys just take care of this?" And of course he said yes. So, and then, you know, he and I are good friends, right? So we were like messaging back and forth and telling me about this. So I reached out to her. I was like, "You do understand that this is wrong. Like, you should have at least given others an option to like be the press to sponsor this and to publish these books." And she basically told me to fuck off. So, yeah, she's like, "No, I'm doing it my way." And I was like, "Okay." So yeah, and I, you know, what am I gonna say? Like, I'm like, "All right, well, that's how you're gonna do it. So that's how you're gonna do it." And so ever since then, they don't invite me to anything.
Oh, wow. Are you like off the alumni like email list?
Oh yeah, they don't invite me to anything for alumni. I don't get invited. I don't get invited to anything because because I basically, so 3 alumni who I graduated with formed a press, right? And we obviously have a press, and 2 of them actually teach at Fairfield, but like as adjuncts. And Sonia obviously teaches at Fairfield full time. So she knew they had a press. She just reached out to them and went, "Hey, I'm in a bind. Can you just like hook me up?" And they went, "Oh, yeah, of course, sure." And that was it. Boom. So yeah, ever since I like challenged her on it, I'm now I don't get anything. And the same thing is true actually with Yale University. I used to go to Yale University's workshops every summer, and then they increased their prices by like triple. And I was like, I just can't afford this. Like, this is just, I can't do it. And they switched heads of the program. And when the new head of the program, he was online and he was like bragging about like, "Oh, we're great and we haven't changed dramatically in years and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, yo, you went from it costing like $900 to go to the workshop for 10 days to like $3,500 to go into the workshop for 10 days. Like, I consider that a dramatic change.
Yeah.
And he basically also was like, fuck off. And so I have never gotten anything from Yale since then as well.
God.
If nothing changed but the price, then everyone's getting screwed over. Like, if it tripled in price, I'm going to need everything to be better. Like, I need the pillows to be better. I need the wine to be better. I need the food to be on point. Like,
Like, I totally get it conceptually, but I'm like.
Also, I think my internet is fading again. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. But like, don't make that claim so publicly and then like be like, and you know what? Fuck you because you're wrong. Or fuck you because you called me out. I'm like, well, then why did you even make that statement? Like, so whatever. Anyway, someone say something lighthearted because I just made shit bad. Right, tell your other story. What's your other hair story?
Well, that was just like a little mini story. So my daughter, my 4.5, almost 5-year-old daughter, is obsessed with hair. And it's really funny. We have very different hair, actually. She has very straight, very light hair. I don't know how that happened. But she likes to tell me how I should or should not wear my hair.
Oh.
And the other day I was up and my hair was down and it was a curly hair day. I was pretty excited. I thought I was having a pretty good curly hair day, actually. I was like, all right. And then she walks out and she goes, "Mommy, what's this?" I was like, what's what? I don't understand. Your hair. It's no, just no. Just put it up. Just put it up in a bun or something.
Oh my God.
Walks away. It's like, all right, well, thanks for just killing my confidence, kid. And I did. I actually listened. I just put it up in a messy bun. I'm like, well, guess I wasn't having a great hair day, according to my 4.5-year-old. But she's usually very sweet. It was like just she's very particular about hair. So.
Oh my God.
What kind of texture hair does your daughter have?
So her hair is like super silky and like straight, like really straight, which is really funny because like mine is not at all.
But that can change as she gets older.
True.
Just saying.
Totally.
Hard kid.
Exactly. I'm on your side. I'm like, we'll put the energy out there.
Yep.
This could all just be like,
yep.
So when I moved to Puerto Vallarta, so during the pandemic, is when I gave up cutting my own hair after like 20 some years. And I
Wow.
was like, I'm so fucking tired of cutting my own hair. And it was mostly the beard that killed me. But so then I moved to Mexico, and you know, my money goes a lot further, and I have like a housekeeper and a gardener and a pool boy.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? I'm getting a fucking barber. Um,
Damn.
so I get online and I'm like, you know, I have like curly hair, I have like mixed race, Afro textured hair. Like, who is a good barber that you could recommend? And I thought that there would be like 4 or 5 different people. Everyone only recommended one person.
Oh.
Wow.
Like
Okay.
everyone in town was like, you got to see Sergio. He's at this place, blah, blah, blah. So I went there, match made in heaven. Like, I never thought I would trust a barber again. I don't know why, but this is the conclusion to this story I told earlier. I am so comfortable with Sergio cutting my hair. And like when he leans me back to like put the towel on my beard to like soften it up, I fall asleep. I fall asleep while this man cuts my hair. And he wakes me up when it's done.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
I love him. Oh my God, I love that so much.
He's super, and he speaks English because he's from LA originally. So
Oh.
that's dope. I thought he was gay for like a hot minute because one day he kept saying like verga and joking about verga, which is Spanish for dick. And I was like, oh, he must like the dick because he keeps saying that word over and over and over again. But he's great.
Oh, he sounds kind of fabulous. So
he is great. He is great. I forgot to buy him a souvenir from Chicago. Fuck.
You know, you have to come back anyway, so it's not like a thing.
Yeah. I could like on Amazon buy something real quick that has Chicago written on it, and it's like, hopefully, Sergio, you're not watching this, but even if so, it's fine.
Oh,
He won't care. It's like you thought about him, so it's all good.
Exactly, it's the thought that counts.
All right, we've got like all of 9 minutes. Does anybody have like another like quick
hair story?
Yeah.
Not that I can think of.
Just like how incredibly difficult it is to cut my beard. So like my barber will break out into a sweat cutting this beard. And I now, because I'm growing it out, I have a wide tooth comb in my shower. Every time I shower, I comb it because it'll get, what are those called? Like, it'll get knots and like, not like split ends, but it'll get like, it'll get tied up and whatnot amongst itself. So I'm like brushing my hair, I'm combing my beard in the shower, and like I can see 4 different distinct curl patterns in this beard.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. That is interesting.
Some are just straight hair, and some of them are really coily, and then there's like ones that are like wavy but still a circle, and others that are wavy but they're zigzag.
No, I get that. Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's really fucked up. It's hard to manage.
Oh my, like, this isn't really a story. I guess it's like a vignette, but whatever. So my first husband, which sounds awful because it sounds like I've had like 20 of them, but I haven't. I've been married twice. So my first husband, when I met him, he had like a beard, and he looked, it was hot, right? Because he had like whatever. So I remember like right before we were going to get married, he was like, do you mind if I shave off my beard? And I thought, of course I said, no, it's fine. Of course you can, right? Because I would be a jackass if I said, motherfucker, your attractiveness will go down by like 5 points, right? But I was like, oh no, of course you can.
Oh no. And then you got divorced?
Huh?
Because he shaved his face and you got divorced?
He shaved his face, and I don't know how to put this other than like I'm an agnostic. I wouldn't say Democrat, but very hard left. And he is a Fox News watching hard right. And let's just say it was very evident in his face without.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I was like, damn. And it was almost like that was like the red flag, but he never really showed his like true colors, I guess you could say, of him being so like, I wouldn't be surprised if he not only like voted for Trump, but he like, walked the streets and had like signs saying vote Trump, vote Trump. Like, I would not be shocked at all if this was what happened. But his true colors didn't come out until after he shaved his beard off.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
It was almost like he was like, well, I got her the ring. We're getting married. So fuck this. I'm going to be me.
Oh my God.
Because sometimes I feel like I can tell that someone is a Fox News watcher, but I feel like most of those times they do have facial hair. So I'm not sure what it is about their face, but it's like something about their face says like
it was almost like he was empathetic enough to understand like, oh, well, she would find this hot. And that if I get rid of it, then fuck it. I'm going to just be me. Right. Because he was not overtly hard right until he got rid of his beard.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
That is so fascinating.
Isn't it? Right.
Oh my
And
God.
there's a whole other thing beyond that we don't need to go into, but that was like the brief hair related version.
I feel like there's a short story in that. Like, I feel like you should write something about like
oh, his sister tried to do an intervention. Like, she was like, I don't like, she figured this out long before me. Like, before we got married, she was like, almost like, you don't have to marry him if you don't want to, kind of thing. And I was like, well, no, I want to, but I had no idea. She was his sister, so she obviously had insights into things that I did not at the time. And then I found out, and there's a whole thing. Yeah. So, yeah. Let's just say, if you are a hard left, or if you are more like agnostic and not, it will be emotional and potentially physical abuse if you marry someone hard right.
Yeah.
Just know that, right? And it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but I still have PTSD associated with
it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
I work in the political left, and like, it's definitely a thing. It's like, I can't even date agnostic people. It's like, you have to be in this range.
For real. Yeah. And you don't realize it until you're like in it, and it's like, I can't deal with this because this is insane. Like, I have no idea what's going on. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So
I've broken up with people who said, I don't feel like voting really makes a difference. And I was like, are you serious? And they were like, yeah. Then I was like, we're done. And they're like, over something so small. And I was like, as small as democracy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not to say that I'm on some high horse, because I drink and do fucked up shit all the time. But I vote.
Right? For real. Yeah. So with that incredibly pleasant thank you so much, Becca, for joining us.
Yay,
and anyone who's watching, just join us a month from now. And if you miss this, it's not a big deal. Just go ahead and check because honestly, fucking hilarious. So you should definitely go back and check some of our other videos. So
You guys are hilarious.
with that, thanks so much. Another fantastic Storytellers happy hour. I will see you guys later. So bye.